personal trainer with a nutrition emphasis. And every Tuesday, Thursday is staying healthy at home with me. And Tuesdays focus are a little bit more fitness, stretching, maybe getting your heart rate up a little bit. And then Thursdays are focused on nutrition. Last week we touched on the basics of a plate that you would typically have, and then portion control and hydration and sleep. Today we're going to start off with some breathing to get that blood flowing in your body. One of the major things that a lot of people don't realize is the incorrect breathing that we do. So a lot of people, when they breathe in, they're either just kind of shallow breathing or they're not getting that full breath into their lungs. So they kind of breathe into their chest rather than their stomach and their lungs. So when we breathe in, you really want to fill that stomach up and area with air. You're not really filling your stomach up with air, but that's what it's going to feel like and look like. So when we're breathing in, you want to expand those lungs as much as possible. It's really going to feel weird at first when you breathe in and you really expand your stomach, and then when you breathe out, but you're actually going to get the most benefits from getting all that air into your body. So when we breathe in, expanding that stomach, and then breathing out. And when we breathe out, you really want to feel your core, your stomach area really tense up when you breathe out. So you're breathing out as much as you possibly can. These breaths are going to be important for when we're stretching and utilizing each and every inhale and exhale during stretches. Breathing can actually help with reduction in dementia. It can help with anxiety and depression, really trying to regulate the mind, getting a lot more blood into your brain so it's functioning a little bit better. It also will give us a little bit more ability to use our brain on a regular basis. I don't know if you ever felt super, super tired and you just kind of take a huge puff and then you just let it out, and it just feels really, really good. And that's kind of what a yawn is as well. It's the lack of oxygen being delivered into the brain. So we yawn to get a little bit more oxygen into the brain, so it functions a little bit better. So that is the basics on breathing. Next, we're going to talk about some exercise benefits. So, of course, with exercise, the natural thing to think is weight loss, weight management, bringing down body fat, but it also has a lot of other benefits apart from weight management. I touched on last week, I believe that fitness and health is about 80% what you eat and 20% fitness. So really, realistically, the health benefits of fitness is really more in the realm of just feeling better eternally and having your body function better. The eating is more of the weight management and proper nutrients in your body. So exercise can actually help psychologically. It can make you feel better because of the endorphins that it produces while you're exercising. Your endorphins are gonna be lifted up, so you're gonna feel a lot better, even though it really sucks during exercise sometimes and you feel really miserable and unmotivated. But later and over time, you're just gonna feel a lot better mentally and physically. It also will help you with your sleep. I know if I stop exercising for a long period of time, I have a lot more trouble falling asleep, staying asleep, and having a really well-rested sleep. And then another thing will help your heart. Your heart will function a lot better because your body's able to regulate and circulate all the blood running through your body a little bit better. Today we're going to be focusing on a little bit of stretching. I have a chair behind me just because it makes it a little bit simpler than making people get on the floor right now. I don't know how mobile or immobile some people are. So a lot of the stretches we're going to start off with today are using a chair, either sitting in the chair or using the chair as a support. We'll move beyond that, but at least when we're moving along and you still can't get on the floor or do anything too crazy, you're able to use these exercises as an alternative to what we're doing. So we're first gonna go, I hope you can still hear me. Somebody like either Kevin, Sean, Rebecca, Leslie, let me know if you can still hear me from over here.
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay, cool. So I'm just sitting in a regular metal chair. What I want to start off with is just kind of sitting straight up. Feet are planted flat on the floor. They're not crossed over, one over the other. They're not leaning back behind the chair. They're not extended out or anything. I have my heels directly underneath my knees and my toes pointed straight forward. Having your feet pointed straight forward is actually going to balance your body. If your one foot is tilted out or tilted in, it could actually mess up your body alignment. So making sure that toes are pointed straight ahead. For people who are blind and visually impaired, this is also important because I'm sure a lot of you struggle with veering one way or the other. It's actually from your toes pointed in a different direction than straight ahead. So if you actually practice walking, pointing your toes straight ahead and really thought about it, you'd actually walk in a pretty straight line on a regular basis. So heels are planted firmly below the knees. And then I am sitting at about a 90-degree angle with my knees bent in a 90-degree angle and my hips where my legs and my stomach meet, that's at a 90-degree angle. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a couple deep breaths. So I'm gonna breathe in, filling that stomach up with as much air. And then breathing out. When you breathe in, you're gonna feel your whole body just kind of grow and get bigger and your shoulders are gonna come back. And you're just gonna feel all that energy just going through. That's really gonna open up all your body parts, all your muscles, all your organs and everything. So you're just gonna do a couple deep breaths, about 5 at a time, and then we're gonna move on. So just take a deep breath in. And remember when we're breathing out, we're pulling that stomach together and really breathing out and feeling that stomach area really tense up. So you're gonna do that a couple more times. All right, go out 2 more times and then we're gonna move on. The next thing you're gonna do after you're done with your breaths is I want you to try to think about sitting straight up. So your spine, what I like to call is it's gonna be stacked on top of each other. So rather than shoulders crouch forward or we're arching our back too far, we're gonna sit straight up, which means my shoulders are perfectly in line with right where my legs and my midsection are meeting. Rather than leaning forward or leaning too far back against the wall, you're gonna make sure that your spine is aligned, your shoulders are in line with your hips, everything is straight up, along with your head. Your head needs to be in line with the rest of your body, so that means everything is stacked right on top of each other in a perfect line. Because if you gotta think about it as a tower, if a tower was a little bit off center a little bit, we're going to topple over. Or one side is gonna be leaning, so we wanna make sure all our muscles and our body is working in the same way. Any questions? Doesn't look like it. Awesome. All right, so what we're gonna do first is we're gonna reach up to the sky, trying to act like there's a bar up there and you're really, really reaching for it as high as you can. And you're really gonna feel your entire body in between from your hips all the way up to your fingertips. Feel it stretching and pulling throughout your entire spine. And then you're gonna bring your arms down to your sides, and then we're gonna lift back up and reach like you're reaching for a bar, keeping that chin, neck, spine, feet firmly planted on the ground. Your head's on top of your spine, and we're reaching and we're breathing. Don't hold your breath, make sure you're still breathing. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna face your palms out towards the outside of your body, and then you're gonna push like you're pushing someone away from you on either side. So your left is going far out to the left and your right arm is going far out to the right, and we're reaching and pushing down, down, down. And now as your hand should now be pointed, your palm should be pointed towards the floor or towards the inner side of your legs. And then you're gonna push your shoulders down, and you're really gonna feel a good stretch from your neck into your shoulders and what's called your trap, which is the muscle that's in between your shoulder bone and your neck bone. So you're really gonna push for 2 breaths. All right, one more time, we're gonna reach up into the sky, reach for the bar, reach, reach, reach. Everything's still in line, making sure that that head is on top of the spine, and the spine is on top of the hips, and the hips are in line with your legs, and your legs are in line with your feet. Reach, and then we're gonna turn our palms out and push out away from us on the outsides of our body, making a big T, and then going all the way down to our hips, and then pushing our palms to the floor, pulling our shoulders downward. All right, take a couple more breaths. I don't know about you guys, I'm actually sweating, I'm not just saying that. I have a little bit of a glistening right now. Any questions on that stretch? Any comments on that stretch? All right, awesome. So we're stretching our upper body. Oh, Sean, go ahead.
I was just going to say something real quick. For anybody that hasn't been on here before, if you're on the phone and you have a question, if you press *9, that's how you raise your hand on the telephone, and we'll make sure and answer you, unmute you so you can ask your question. If you're on the computer, it's Alt-Y, and that's how you raise your hand on the computer.
Thanks, Sean. All right, so the next thing we're going to do to stretch out our neck, I struggle from frequent headaches from tension in my shoulders from either sitting at a computer. Right now, I think we're all struggling with a lot of back and neck pain, maybe lower back, upper back, anything like that, just from sitting all day. You're going to feel that tension in your upper body, and your hips are going to feel a little tight, but we're going to start off from the head, and then we're going to work our way down. So what you're going to do is move forward towards the edge of your chair. Still keep your feet under your knees in line with your hips in line with your spine, and your head in line on top of your spine. What we're going to do, we're going to take either your left or right arm, depending on what you want to do first, and you're going to reach behind you. Your arm is going to go straight down, and then right where your elbow's at, you're going to point your hand to the left behind your back. So it's going to be like your arm is in a sling, but it's going to be behind your back instead. And then you're going to take your other hand. So I'm using my left arm's behind my back, and my right hand, I'm going to take it and reach over top of my head to my left ear. And then I'm going to pull my head down towards the floor with my right arm. So my hand is on my left ear, reaching over top of my head. And now I'm pulling my head to the right side. And you're really going to feel that stretch in your neck. If you don't feel it, raise your hand, because you really should feel this right now. Any questions? Struggling with anything? But if you're good, just hold it. And then release, and you're going to breathe out when you release. And now we're going to switch sides. So same thing. Right hand goes behind my back. My left hand is going to go over my head onto my right ear, and I'm going to pull now to the left side with my left arm, and my right hand behind my back, like it's in a sling just behind me. Now, I don't know how flexible you all are. If you can't put your hand directly behind your back, you can put it on your hip. You can keep it straight down on the floor, but if you're going to point it down and not bend it at all, make sure you're pushing your arm to the floor and then pulling away from there still. And make sure you're breathing. All right, we're going to do one more on either side. So we're going to switch. So left arm behind your back or pointed towards the floor, pushing down. Right hand over top of the head onto the ear and pulling to the right side. All right, and now we're going to switch once more. Same thing, just on the opposite side. Make sure that when you're doing this also, you're not leaning your whole body to the side, you're just pulling your head, and you're not pulling your whole entire body to the side that your head is leaning. You want to make sure that everything stays still in line. Your spine is straight down, your hips are straight on the seat, and feet firmly planted on the ground. All right. Awesome. All right, take a few breaths, shake it out. I'm sure if you haven't stretched a lot, you may feel a bit of a head rush. Take a break if you do feel a head rush. I don't want you to exert too much energy because stretching crazy. Just little movements like that for a lot of people that aren't stretching quite often, it's really going to start that blood and it's going to be overwhelming for the body. So if you are feeling any way, shape, or form uncomfortable, dizzy, too hot, just stop, take a break, and then you can come back in. The next thing that we're going to do is you're going to take your right arm and you're going to put it up towards the sky. And then your left hand is going to reach under your seat on the side. And then you're going to lean to the left side. So you're pointing your fingers, your arm is straight up to the sky, and then you're leaning your whole body to the left, making sure that your butt stays firmly on the seat. Don't lift your right side of your butt off the floor, off the chair, just making sure you're just leaning your upper body. And you're going to start feeling a stretch down your ribs up to where your armpit is, and then all the way up your arm. And you're going to reach and making sure you're breathing. Your head is still pointed forward, your chin, and everything. This is the one time your spine is probably not going to be in line, but you still want to keep your chest up and everything in a good posture while you're still leaning. So try not to slouch forward or reach too far back. That's why your hand is right next to your hip and you're holding yourself in place. And then we're going to switch sides. So your right hand is now grasping on the right side of the chair. Your left hand is up and you're going to reach to the right. Your whole arm is up towards the sky, leaning to the right, straight, making sure that your butt is still planted firmly on the chair along with your feet. All right, one more time each side. Don't forget to breathe. Don't hold your breath. That's how you can get pretty lightheaded. So making sure you're still filling that stomach up with air. And to the other side. All righty, awesome. All right, now we're working our way down still. So what you're going to do is you're going to take both of your hands and put them to the back. If you're not, still scooch forward on your seat a little bit. Give yourself about 6 inches of chair behind you, just enough where you can reach your hands behind your chair. And what you're going to do is you're going to grasp the back of the chair and you're going to push your chest out and push your shoulders back. So your chest goes straight ahead and your shoulders are going to be pulled backwards. And what that's going to do is it's really going to open up your heart area and your chest. And right where your shoulders connect to your chest, that's called the pec muscle. And that's really going to open all that up. Some people get a little bit of a pop depending on how tight you are. And making sure you're taking really big, deep breaths in this one, because that's really going to change how much stretch you get. If you need to, you can reach your arms further back behind the chair if you don't feel much of a stretch, or you can bring them to the seat. So right now I'm on the seat part. You can bring it all the way up to the back of the chair. So where your back hits, you can bring your arms all the way up to there and then lean forward a little bit more. Making sure everything is still firmly planted where it should be. We're really only moving our upper body right now, but our head is still staying in the same spot. Really opening that chest. All right. Any questions, comments? Haven't felt anything while we're doing something? Anything at all? Okay, awesome. All right, so the next thing we're going to do, we're actually going to have to stand up. So I'm standing up, and what I'm going to do, I'm moving my chair just because I'm in a tiny space, but you're going to go behind the back side of your chair, and you're going to put your hands on the back side of your chair. Your feet are now going to be shoulder width apart, same thing where everything is stacked, so they should be directly underneath your hips. And what you're going to do is, as you lean down to grab the chair, you're going to push your backside towards backwards, and you're going to push it as far back as you can while you're pushing your chest to the floor. So your butt is going behind you and your chest is going to the floor, and you should feel a really good stretch in your back down to your butt, down to your hamstrings, and it could go all the way down to the back of your knees into your calves. All right. And then you're going to come up just enough to release that stretch, and then you're going to go back down, pushing that butt behind you, that chest down to the floor. If you're not feeling anything, you should then press your butt further back. The further back you lean, the more stretch you're going to feel in your hamstrings, behind your knees, in your butt. All right. One more time, so come on up. Take a couple breaths. And now push your butt back, chest down, stretch. If you need to bend your knees a little bit, feel free to bend your knees a little bit. All right, come up. Next thing, bring your left, so in the same position, just bring your left foot forward. Or you can stand directly behind the chair and bring your right leg back. Whatever is most comfortable for your balance. Depending on your flexibility, you can do anywhere from about a foot back behind you to 2 or 3 feet behind you. And then what you're going to do is, they should still be about shoulder width apart. And then you're going to lean your left knee forward while trying to keep your right heel on the floor. Still holding on to that chair to keep you balanced. Now, depending on where you're most tight right now, you could feel it in your right hip. You could feel it in the back of your leg. Sometimes people feel it in their front leg, but most people are going to feel it in the leg that's behind them. So left leg is in front. My knee is over top of my ankle. My left knee is over top of my left ankle. My feet are still shoulder width apart, but now my right leg is behind me. Heel is pushing back, and left knee is pushing forward. All right. Now, if you need to, you can take a step forward or slide your foot slowly up to the front, or you can bring your left foot back and then your right foot forward, depending on what's most comfortable for your balance. Same thing, Now my right knee is above my right ankle. My left heel is pushing back and trying to stay firmly planted on the floor. You can go anywhere from a foot to 3 feet distance between your toe to your left toe to your right heel. And then press that knee forward and push that left heel back, and you should start feeling that stretch either in your left hip, the left back leg, or possibly in your right leg, but that's very rare. And you're going to hold it while still breathing. All right, once more, we're going to switch, pushing that heel back, left knee goes forward, trying to keep that same posture in your spine while we're still straight up. We're not slouching forward too far. We're not leaning back too far, but just enough. Now you might start feeling like some of these are a little bit easier as time goes on, even in this session, just because we're going to switch. You're actually loosening your entire body up just by the breathing and just mobilizing your body in general. You should have your other leg now forward in front of you. So your right leg is front, your left leg is back, left heel firmly planted on the floor, and right knee leaning forward while your right foot is still firmly on the floor completely. And we're breathing. All right, good. Now to finish this stretch off, we're going to put both of those feet behind us again, and we're going to lean down. Same way we did when we did the first stretch, where our hands are firmly on the back of our chair. Your feet are in line with your hips, both feet in the same spot, shoulder width apart, and then we're pushing our butt back and pushing our chest down to the floor. To finish off the stretch, and then we're stand up. If you feel lightheaded, stay on the chair. If not, just stand straight up, get a little comfortable, shake yourself out a little bit. All right. Any questions so far on our stretches? Anything you need clarified? Anything you didn't feel or not understand correctly? All right, looks like we're okay so far. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to go back in our chair. Now, depending on how tight your hips are, this could get a little difficult, so we'll change it up dependent. For those that can get there, so again, get back into your original position of feet firmly planted on the floor, knees over top of your ankles, then your knees in line with your hips, in a seated position, both at 90 degrees, and your spine stacked on top of each other in an upright position, head in line with your spine. What you're going to do is, if you can, lift up your right foot on top of your left knee. So your ankle should be directly on top of the top part of your left leg. And you're going to hold it there. All you have to do is sit. You're going to feel that stretch in your out thigh. If you cannot get your leg up that far, which is fine, you're going to scoot forward a little bit on your chair. And all you're going to do is you're going to reach down to grab your right ankle with your left hand and just pull it up until you start feeling that stretch in your hip. Still trying to keep that leg at a 90-degree angle. And then you're going to push. So with your left hand, you're holding your right ankle. And with your right hand, you're going to push your knee down while you're pulling up with your left hand. That is the alternative to this stretch. Now, if you can get your leg up, you put it on your right ankle goes on top of your left leg, and you're just going to hold it. If you want a little bit more of a deeper stretch, you can press that right knee down with your right hand, making sure you're still in that good posture position. All right, we're gonna switch. So grab your leg, place it down. Don't just pull your leg off of the top of your left leg, making sure to pick it off because that's gonna really throw off your balance. Now you're gonna take your left leg with your right hand, grab that ankle and put it on top of your right leg. So your left ankle is now on top of your right leg. And we're stretching. If you need an alternative, your right hand is grasping your left ankle as far up as you can get it, and your left hand is pressing your left knee down to the floor. I'm going to put my ankle on top of my knee because I need a little bit more of a deeper stretch. Regardless of what you're doing, making sure that your spine is in line. You may need to lean forward a little bit if you are grabbing your ankle, but making sure that your chest is completely open and you're not slouching. So you're just using your pivot point at your hips rather than using your spine to slouch. Taking those deep breaths. Good. All right, one more time on each side. So that right leg and ankle goes on top of the left top part of your knee. If you need to get a deeper stretch, you press that knee down to the floor while your ankle's on top of that left leg. If you can't get it up there, all you have to do is hold your right ankle with your left hand while pressing your right knee down with your right hand and pulling up with your left hand, pushing down with your right. All right, we're gonna switch, making sure don't just push that leg off the top part of your leg. You're setting it down on the floor and then picking up the other leg. Everything in stretching needs to be slow and fluid rather than quick and fast movements. Now, just by doing stretching, you're actually increasing your metabolism, and it is a form of exercise. So you are, because your blood is circulating at a different level, you are burning more calories than you would just by sitting down. So even if you're just sitting on your couch all day, really just sitting there and just stretching, doing some of these stretches, you can put your leg down now, but doing some of your neck stretches, doing the lean to the right, lean to the left, bringing your leg up and just stretching and really focusing on that breathing is really going to change the intensity of that stretch and making sure that everything is in line and in the proper formation that it should be. Because if you are slouching, you're not going to get the full effects of the blood circulation through your body, which you're going to lose some of the benefits that stretching and yoga and all that has on your entire body. The last thing that we're going to do, if you do have some sort of hypertension, hypotension, any orthostatic, which is those black dots that you get if you stand up too quickly, I would recommend just being very careful when you do this. So you're going to scoot back as far as you can in your chair. And what you're going to do is you're actually now going to put your feet out in front of you as far as they can go, where your heels are on the floor and your toes are pointed up to the sky and kind of pulling towards you. Then what you're going to do is you're going to slowly reach down to your toes. You're folding your body almost in half, reaching down like there's a pen at your feet and you're reaching down for that pen. But making sure that you're not arching your back down. You're keeping that spine straight. Slowly going down, not to throw the chair off balance so you end up falling forward as well. And then you're going to reach down, grab the bottom of each foot and pull your toes up towards you while you're using your arms to pull your chest down to your toes. I need to bend my elbows in order to pull my chest and my toes together You don't need to have your arms still straight out. So once you get to that position where your hands are underneath your feet, grabbing them and pulling them towards you, you can start to bend your elbows out as your chest goes down. If you need to, you can separate your knees a little bit to get a deeper stretch. Just be careful not to throw your chair off balance, that you'll fall forward. We will get into more advanced stretching with this. I just wanted to start off simple for everybody. Those of you that can't get down on the ground, get back up, go upside down, that kind of thing. I wanted to keep it as simple as possible. So when we do get more advanced, you know the ways that you can do other things as an alternative to these more advanced stretches. So again, we're going to go down to slide our hands down to our feet, pulling our toes towards our chest, and our chest is being pulled towards our toes. And breathing, making sure not to arch that back. Your chin, I'm gonna have to look up because you won't hear me if I'm talking to the floor, but making sure your chin is now facing the floor and your eyes are pointed down towards the floor. Everything is in line. And you're still breathing. All right, we're gonna come back up, slowly sliding up. All right, you should feel a lot looser right now. So we're gonna go back to the beginning where we stretched our neck. So we went from our neck down to our legs, and now we're gonna go all the way back up our spine into our neck area to finish off, just to complete our whole stretching. So now what we're gonna do is you're gonna take your left hand on the left side of your chair, right arm straight up towards the sky, and then we're gonna lean to the left with our right hand. So our right hand is trying to reach for a bar on the left side. And then you're going to switch, making sure that butt, for those of you that missed the first part, making sure that butt is still firmly planted on the chair. Both feet are firmly planted on the floor, knees on top of your ankles, knees in line with your hips in line with your shoulders, and your spine in perfect alignment, straight down, not slouch forward, not too far arched back. Now we're going to take our right hand, place it on the right side of the chair, take your left hand up towards the sky, and then reach to the right like there's a bar to the right side as far as you can without tipping your chair or your hips. And making sure to take those deep breaths in. All right, come back to the center. Come forward on your chair just a little bit so you can reach your left hand behind your back. Your arm should be like if it was in a sling in the front of your body. So my arm is parallel with the floor and my forearm, and then my upper arm is in line with my body. You're just going to put that directly behind you. If you can't get it directly behind you, you can put it on your hip, or you can let your arm hang right next to you, straight down, parallel with your body. And then you're going to you're going to take your right hand and you're going to pull it over your head towards your left ear and put your hand on your left ear and then pull your head to the right. Left arm behind our back, right arm pulling our head to the right side. Breathing, making sure that our heads are face forward. And then we're going to switch, breathe in, breathe out, and pull to the other side. Right arm is now behind. Left hand is on our right ear, pulling our head to the left. Breathing in, breathing out. This is one of my favorite stretches when I have a neck ache or a headache. It really gets that stretch in the neck because I get a lot of tension headaches. As a side note, you can do the same thing and you can move your head around. So rather than maybe looking straight ahead, you can put your hand on the back of your skull and pulling your head down to the floor while still pulling your shoulder down and So your shoulders being pulled to the floor, your head is being pulled to the floor, but in different directions. So your shoulder is behind you and your head is going towards your knees and your shoulders going towards your hips. And you're pulling down. And you can even put it on the side of your skull, all those different directions on your neck. I'm going to do the one where I'm looking down now. Keep switching sides. Count for about 10 seconds each stretch, and then you can switch. You can also roll your head from facing forward, being pulled, to facing down and being pulled to get that full neck stretch. All right. All right, and now we're going to take a couple breaths. And now the last thing, you're going to reach up, hands to the sky, taking a deep breath in, reaching up as far as you can, like there's a really high bar above us, and then breathing out. Breathing in, reach, reach, reach. Hands are straight up above my head, reaching for a bar. And then coming down at my sides. And now what you're going to do is you're going to roll your shoulders from in front of you to behind, then pushing down to the floor, squeezing them forward, then pushing up on your shoulders. So this is like rolling your shoulders in either a counterclockwise or clockwise position. And you're just rolling them. So you're kind of like pulling them all the way up to your ears and then pushing them down all the way to your hips in a clockwise direction or counterclockwise. We can do both. Taking a couple breaths. All right. Should feel a little bit looser. These are things you can do throughout the day. With my descriptions of everything, it probably took a little bit longer than it would take on your own time. I would say this could be anywhere from a 10-minute to a 20-minute session in your day. It's going to get that blood flowing. It is going to wake you up if you're feeling sleepy. I know as soon as I start feeling tired, the first thing I go to is stretching and water and breathing. Those are the three main things that if I'm feeling either that Monday, those Monday blues where you're just tired and sleepy, that's the major thing I do is stretch, breathe, drink water. And especially when you're working out, you want to stay away from anything too high sugar. Some sugars are okay, the natural sugars, the fruits, to replenish all those carbs that you may be losing or using while you're working out. For those of you that have diabetes, to be mindful of what your body's telling you while you're stretching. And if you do have some sort of orthostatic hypertension, hypotension, to be mindful of what your body's also telling you. If you're feeling shaky, if you're feeling tired, if you start getting increased headaches, if you're feeling almost too hot to where you're not sweating, but you feel like you're overheating, stop exercising. It is so important to listen to your body and to not overdo it, because overworking your body is going to be worse than actually stretching. So being mindful about all those little bits and pieces of exercise is going to be important. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out. I believe Rebecca sent out my email. You can always call the office and they'll forward the call to me if you ask for Alex Bornman. I am more than happy to answer any questions that you have. What I'm also going to do is you now have homework. Now, I know you're all grown adults, so you're not required, but what I want you to do is try to take tomorrow and a little bit of today and stretch at least 3 times for 10 minutes. Or you can stretch for a whole 30 minutes throughout the day. Let me know. On Thursday, we'll ask those who were there, or I can wait till Tuesday. I'll ask both times. So this Thursday, I'll ask for those of you that are joining us again. And for those that are only coming on Tuesdays to listen in, I'll ask how those stretches went. But I would like you to try to focus on about 30 minutes of stretching a day, whether that be 10 minutes for 3 times, 5 minutes, 6 times, whatever you want. So just let me know. how you feel and if you feel any different. If not, maybe it's going to take a little while to really feel a huge difference. One stretching session is not going to make a huge difference, but it will make your body start feeling a little bit more awake. And I'm hoping that some of you that were following along actually felt the blood rushing through your body a little bit more. I know I have a little bit of sweat going. I'm glistening a little bit. Might be the fact that my air conditioning is not turned on, but make sure to hydrate after. So that's all I have. Any questions, comments, concerns, anything that you would like to see next week? Feel free to say anything now. Sean, did you unmute on purpose?
I did. I was giving everybody a chance to say something.
Okay.
They were going to. I guess it'll be really fitting. Tomorrow we have our support group and we have 2 speakers lined up. The first being Bettina, who has quite a bit of a fitness background, so y'all have a lot in common there. That's tomorrow at 10. And then we have a musician, singer-songwriter named Devin from Austin joining us at 11. So that's tomorrow. Alex's class again on Thursday at 10. And then my Windows and JAWS Basics class at 1 on Thursday. So just to line up what's coming up this week.
Awesome. Thanks, Sean. And thank you all for taking the time to come in and listen. I hope these stretches made you feel better and a little bit less tired for the day. And I see Leslie unmuted herself.
Yeah, I was just going to say thank you, Alex. It's good to be reminded of these stretches. And I feel like I just had a session with my very own private personal trainer.
Awesome. Any other questions, comments, concerns? If not, we'll see you all later or tomorrow. And if not, then later in the week, hopefully. And I hope you all
I'm just going to say that I love yoga and I love it. I love to use that with my students. So I appreciate having this today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, there'll be more coming. So, and if anyone has, you don't have to be blind or visually impaired to join in. If anyone has friends that they would like to bring in, these things can hold a good amount of people. So feel free to invite anyone you want during our fitness, staying healthy at home sessions or any other session that goes on with Lighthouse. All righty. Well, y'all have a great one and enjoy the day. It's beautiful weather where I'm at, so I hope it's beautiful weather there. So get outside and get walking. You're welcome, Janet.